I'm a biologist with the Australian Platypus Conservancy. I've been working with platypus now for 30 years and I never get tired of them. They are just an amazing animal and there is still so much more to find out about them. The platypus is now considered near threatened. Now what that means is that they have declined in many places and the causes of those declines are still going on. We've got about 30 years to really find out what's happening with this very special species and start to do something about it.
So we're in the Upper Murray and there are several streams which have permanent water and the pools that are required for platypus to live.
Main thing is the platypus has lost a lot of its habitat over the last 200 years or so. So the first thing is really to address the quality of our waterways, and that means improving the amount of vegetation by planting more native trees and shrubs, and also by addressing issues of flows along our rivers where there simply isn't enough water sometimes for the platypus to survive comfortably.
Platypus are a fantastic indicator of really healthy waterways.
The better quality habitat you've got in the rivers, the more platypus. So it all comes down to the amount of bugs. Platypus eat basically any of the bugs in the water. The more bugs, more platypus. And it's things like the amount of trees along our waterways and the quality of the water that will determine how many bugs are there for the platypus to eat.
If you can control grazing, so sometimes it's not removing grazing completely, but just controlling grazing around those streams to stop the sediment getting in the water.
In good quality habitat, you'll probably get about 3 to 4 platypus per kilometre if the conditions are good and the river is big enough. What makes the platypus really unusual is that it's a mammal, but it reproduces by laying eggs. They breed once a year and they can lay up to 3 eggs, but normally 1 or 2. And what happens is the female goes into a burrow and holds the eggs between her tail and her stomach for about 10 to 11 days till their babies hatch out. And of course they're little jelly beans when they're first born. There's a number of things that directly prey on platypus. The most important is the fox. Foxes and to a lesser extent dogs and feral cats take a lot of platypus, especially the young. Occasionally things like birds of prey. But unfortunately the worst killer of platypus is people. We kill platypus in all sorts of ways. Platypus get killed in illegal yabby nets, for example, or get killed on illegal fishing lines that have been left set overnight. In addition, we kill a lot of platypus through things like litter in the water. Luckily, the platypus is probably a bit more protected against bushfire effects than a lot of species. The reality is when the fire front comes through, the platypus is normally either in the water or underground in burrows, and therefore they probably suffer less direct impact.
So we're hoping to see a really healthy bounce back in platypus after the recent 2020 fires.
Platypus can live more than 20 years, but basically the females live about 14, males about 7. It's really important we start to find out how populations are doing, and one way is to do visual monitoring. The Australian Platypus Monitoring Network system that we've set up gives people a chance to get involved. It's not time consuming. You scan for platypus, record when you see the animals and when you don't, and over time it gives us a really good picture of how populations are trending.
So we're really keen to hear from landholders about what they're seeing in their waterways.
The platypus is considered to be one of the world's most amazing animals. It's a mammal that reproduces by laying eggs. It's an animal that's venomous in the case of the males. It has a special 6th sense in its bill to find its food, which is nothing quite like it in the animal world, and many other features that are simply unusual. So it is one of the world's real heritage species.